של לפני סיסמה.
תשאל את הסיסמה, תקבל לי אחרי, הכל בסדר.
למה הוא אמר לי קונקטד בלי קוד? יכול להיות.
כי הוא עוד צריך להכניס איזה סיסמה לתוך האתר, אבל לא טוען איזה דרך הלייבים.
רק שניהם כאילו בשאלה? אז בעצם הוא לא קונקטד.
חברים, אתם מוכנים? אפשר להתחיל?
כן, הנה חיכינו, יאללה, אפשר להתחיל.
אפשר להתחיל.
הנה, אפשר להתחיל. בבקשה.
אוקיי.
אתה אומר פה.
מה קורה?
זה לא לסגור את זה?
אני אעשה פול.
מה קורה?
מה קורה? תבדוק בטריות. רמי, מה השמוע אומרת שנפצעת אתמול?
אני לא פה גם כולה.
באמת נפצעת? באמת נפצעת אחי?
לא עליו הם מוכנים.
אוטו? בוא ניסה? ניסה
אתה חוקי פה במאה שערים.
אני רואה שלקחת את זה
רגע, אני באמת בפינות?
עודד אומר לי, תגיד לי, רמי נפצע? רמי אמר משהו? אני אמצא אותך, רמי הזה תאמין לי.
רואים אותך בלונדון. תקשיב רגע.
רגע, אני יושב. מי יושב?
קרן...
הנה קרן. אני רוצה לשבת פה, אני רוצה להיות סקייפ שלי. אני מסתיר למישהו בגובה? לא, אני ככה. מי זה פה? מי זה? גל, אני לא מסתיר לך, נכון? אם אני ככה? לא, אז אני אוריד את הפלאש. מישהו עשה ווייט בלנס פה?
יש פה בעיה עם הווייט בלנס.
3.60.
זה בסדר שבא...
3.60?
30-60.
30.60?
זה מה שהוא נותן לי, זה נראה סביר. הלבן בשביל זה מה
תגיד לי כאן, אם הוא אומר לי לא עוד פריוויו, מעלים לי תמונה, זה לא שאני...
וואלה.
זה מאוד סודי.
אתה עוד 30.60?
כמו שהייתי קודם, זה לא עובד? לא להקשיב לו.
לא, זה ירוק אבל, זה ירוק.
הירוק מגיע מפה, אבל אם אתה תעשה ווייט פה...
תעמוד רגע בעמדה.
אבל רגע, שנייה, בוא נשים ווייט פה, כי יש מפה תאורה.
אתה טקסטר, אני לא נגד, אתה שזה... עכשיו עשית אותו דרמטי?
דרמטי?
לא, אל תחזק. כי זה צד אחד
זה יותר צהוב אבל.
רגע, חבר'ה.
קצת צהוב.
אני לא שומע ברגע נפית מהרגע שנכנסת.
למה זה היה פתוח?
היה רגוע, וסקר. עוד פעמים מעלים את הכל.
שנייה, רגע, עושים פה טסטים, אדוני. עושים פה טסטים.
לא, זה חשוב.
סליחה? הורים, מורים ואורחים נכבדים. מה? אחד, שתיים, שלוש, ארבע, חמש, שש, שבע, שמונה, 9, 10. מי שמספיק מספיק, מי שלא מספיק זהו. אזרחי ישראל. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. מה? אתה יודע מה, איז'ו יהיה אחראי בשביל כל החברה האלה. איז'ו. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. אחת, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. אוקיי, סטס מבסוט. מי עוד פה צריך צ'ק? אתם בסדר? כן, יש כזה סאונדסט. מה?
As we speak.
יש פה וי-פיי? קודם למישהו קודם וי-פיי?
הבטריה נגמרה, ניר? ניר. הבטריה נגמרה? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. הבטריה נגמרה, ניר? אבל הרמקול, המיקרופון עובד? הבטריה נגמרה של הפנס. הנה, הנה. היא הלכה עכשיו לבדוק. היא הלכה לבדוק, ניר. כן, כן. בסדר? כן, אבל תן לנו תאורה. כן, של המלון. משהו קרה לתאורה.
It's been 2 weeks since I've been here. It's forever. Are we ready?
We have no light.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
The first line, the guy in the first line, I see your head.
Yeah. Yeah, cut his head off. There we go. Okay. You ready? Thumbs up back there? Thumbs up from everybody. Okay. Well, I'm Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina. I'm back. I come here every 2 weeks where I need to or not. So why did I come this time? To put a fine point of where we're at as a world regarding the Iranian regime. The Iranian Ayatollah and his murderous regime are at their weakest point since 1979. Their economy is in shambles. Their military has been degraded. There are people in the streets, Iranian people in the streets, demanding an end to oppression. All these forces are coming together. We must meet the moment. If this regime falls in the coming weeks or months, 2 things will attribute to it. October the 7th. Without October the 7th, I do not believe this regime would be as weak as it is today. What happened on October the 7th was horrible. It was horrific, and it will be part of the people of Israel's history as long as they're the people of Israel. But your determination out of the ashes of October 7th to give new meaning to never again, to go on the offensive to weaken the Iranian regime and their proxies is paying dividends. The response of Israel after October 7th to make sure never again was credible has led to the weakest regime in Iran since 1979. The second event, the rise of the people. The people in Iran have gone to the streets without weapons. Maybe 30,000 or more have been killed to demand an end to their oppression. These 2 events, the bravery of the people of Iran who are saying, I've had it, I want change, and the response of Israel to October the 7th have led to the potential demise of the Ayatollah. I can't think of a more satisfying event for me personally than see the good people of Iran to be able to get their country back, to live in a place where they didn't have to worry about their daughter being murdered because she didn't wear the headscarf right on a bus, being able to be part of the world, not isolated from the world, being able to embrace the light and not be overshadowed by the darkness. I look forward to a day when Israel no longer has to fear a nuclear weapon being developed by the Iranian regime. The best answer to all the problems created by Iran is regime change. The best answer is for the people to take the place of the Ayatollah. I do not believe they're in the streets to build more nuclear weapons. I think they're in the streets to have a better life. I don't think they're in the streets to purify Islam and destroy Israel and come after us, the great Satan. They're in the streets to have normalcy and a life that's not normal. So my view is the risk of regime change is real. There are unknowns, but let me just say this. I'm willing to take that risk. I think the Iranian people have the potential to be a great ally of the United States, Israel, and the region. I think the Ayatollah, as long as he's alive and around, will be chanting death to America and will be trying to enact a religious agenda of purify Islam, destroy Israel, come after us. He's a religious Nazi. Hitler wanted a master race. The Ayatollah wants a master religion, and we're not going to give it to him. We're going to fight back. To the brave people of Israel, I know you're hurt very hard, and very wide, and very deep on October the 7th. I'm here to tell you we're on the verge of eliminating the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the region. And with the fall of Iran comes the fall of Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. The ripple effect is enormous. Normalization becomes far more likely. If the Ayatollah survives all this bluster, God help the region. So my presence here today is to reassure the Israeli people there is no light or gaps between President Trump and Bibi about what to do and how to do it. There are two lines in the water right now. One's a diplomatic line, trying to find a way to end this regime diplomatically that will advance our national security interest. The other line is the military option. I think President Trump is looking for which line can catch the biggest fish. The bottom line is we're into weeks, not months, in terms of decision making. The Iranian people are hanging on. I attended a rally of 250,000 people in Munich. It's one of the most satisfying experiences of my professional life to have 250,000 people, one, know who I was and appreciate what I was doing. Apparently, I'm commonly referred to as Uncle Lindsey in Iran, and apparently that's a good thing. But this hat, Make Iran Great Again, says a lot in a very few words. By the way, the idea of Making Iran Great Again hat came from Morgan Ortegas, who's not with us, but she thought this would be a good branding, and she was right. And this hat one day will go to Tehran. I look forward to delivering it to the people of Tehran. And President Trump, when asked about what this hat means and says, he said, I think what Senator Graham is trying to say is that the best way to make Iran great again is through the people, not the Ayatollah. I think he's right. So my hope is that in the coming weeks, if we can't find a diplomatic solution, that we engage in a great endeavor, supporting the people of Iran, demanding their freedom and the end of their oppression. We have military capabilities second to none. There is no more clever nation on the planet than Israel. There is no more powerful nation on the planet than the United States. As to the Iranian regime, you're weak because of your ideas. You're weak because of the way you've treated your people. You're weak because you're evil. Eventually, good will replace evil in Iran. To those who may participate in this endeavor, God bless you. God keep you safe if that day does come. Could our soldiers be hit in the region? Absolutely they could. Can Iran respond if we have an all-out attack? Absolutely they can. I think the risk associated with that is far less than the risk associated with blinking and pulling the plug and not helping the people as you promised. We told them to go back in the street, keep protesting. Help was on the way. We have to be good to our word. So this trip is a special trip for me. It's putting a fine point on something I've been working on for over 2 years. I leave from here to go to the United Arab Emirates. Bibi wanted me to tell the press that he's amazed by the level of cooperation and the significance of the partnership of the United Arab Emirates with Israel, that MBZ has done everything asked and then some, that they've been a stalwart partner, reliable partner under difficult circumstances. And I want to go there tomorrow and acknowledge MBZ's leadership and suggest that America improve its capability to defend the United Arab Emirates and the region. I will then go to Saudi Arabia. I believe that the Crown Prince still has the same vision for the region he did before October 7th. But October 7th has taken its toll. And at the end of the day, if the regime is still standing after all this bluster, October 7th was a strategic win for Iran and radical Islam. If the regime falls as a result of the pressure put on the regime by Israel and the United States after October 7th, combined with the uprising of the people demanding a better life, then that would be the biggest change in the Mideast in 1,000 years. I am leaving here confident of the capability of the United States and Israel, if called upon, to deliver a decisive blow to the Iranian regime. I am hopeful that diplomacy may prevail yet. Either way, our date with history, our date with a new destiny for the Mideast is upon us. Questions?
Good evening, Mr. Senator. Anna Barsky, Marriott newspaper. I have two questions, please. After your meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu, are United States and Israel fully aligned on the next steps regarding Iran?
Yes.
One more question.
Yes. There is.
Trump said he's giving the talk 1 month. When the month ends,
Yeah.
there is no full agreement. Should the United States shift to military pressure? Thank you.
President Trump's very good at making sure people don't play him by giving them deadlines. He did that with Hamas, did that with Iran. I think you may see that now again with Iran. The bottom line is I don't mind diplomacy as long as it's done in a way to get the outcome you want. I know President Trump is allowing his diplomatic team to keep engaging, which I support, but he also has on the table another option. The Gerald Ford is steaming this way. I don't think they're just going for better weather. So time will tell what happens. President Trump has done a masterful job, I think, of weakening the regime without getting us, the United States, further entangled into bigger wars. Israel's done an incredible job after October 7th to give new meaning to the term never again by going after the enemies of Israel wherever they reside in the most clever way and, quite frankly, sometimes the most brutal way. That's what it takes to survive in this region.
Yes, Senator Graham. Hello and thank you. Lisa Rozovsky from Haaretz. Two questions as well. One on Gaza, please. We hear that the United States tends to take a step-by-step approach towards the disarmament of Hamas.
Yeah.
Can you confirm that? And how
I don't know. I know that the president has told me, President Trump, that if they don't disarm soon, then they're playing a game. So I don't know if we put Hamas on a time limit, time clock. I wish we would. Disarm or else in X amount of days. That seems to be the best way to get results around here. Do I think Hamas will disarm without being made to do so? No. Do I think there's a regional force in the region that could come in and disarm Hamas against their wishes? No. I think it's either going to take pressure to get Hamas to disarm from the region, or Israel's going to have to go back in and wipe them out. The sooner we get an answer to those questions, the better. I don't see how you develop Gaza in a real meaningful way if you still have elements of Hamas armed within the area. You know, it's hard to sell a condo for, say, $3 million with a good ocean view if right down the road there's a neighborhood controlled by Hamas. That's not an investment I would want to make.
And the second question, if I may, the West Bank.
The West Bank and Gaza have to be part of any solution.
I mean, the annexation steps, the steps towards annexation that the Israeli government has taken.
Well, I'm hoping
How
this.
is it playing in the White
I'm hoping that, the plan was to get Hamas to disarm. That's been months ago. They're clearly not interested in disarming. The pace of this is slow. I get it. The border peace, maybe it works, but I know this: you'll never have peace in the Mideast with Hamas under arms. You'll never have a solution to the problem of terrorism that Israel faces until Hamas is no more politically or militarily.
Joe Brown, I-24 News. Thank you very much, Senator Graham. So you say that there's no light between what President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu want.
That's what he told me.
Well, you say that President Trump wants, first of all, to try and get a diplomatic solution to this. So from Netanyahu's side, as you spoke to him today, what does he want to happen?
Well, they've been very clear about what a diplomatic solution would have to entail for Israel to believe it's a good deal. No deal will go through the process without coming to the Congress. I assure you, as a member of the Senate, I will fairly evaluate any deal, but I'm skeptical of any deal that would limit Iran's nuclear capability given their behavior. It's kind of late in the process, and they're prone to cheat. But the Senate will have a say about whether or not it's a good deal or a bad deal, so that's the way the process works. I'm just telling you what Bibi told me. Okay? We'll get everybody.
Daniel Estrin from NPR. Nice to see you here. Prime Minister Netanyahu has spoken about tapering off U.S. military aid.
Yeah, we talked about that.
You've spoken about a quicker timetable. How quickly do you
Well, I think what his plan is to replace the money of $3-point-something billion with an investment in new technology. Rather than just writing you a check, help the IDF, he wants to create a partnership outside of the aid number. I like that idea. The wars of the future are being planned here in Israel because if you're not one step ahead of the enemy, you suffer. The most clever, creative military forces on the planet are here in Israel because they have to be to survive. So what we're looking at is that Israel is advancing down the road of new weaponry far beyond us, and it would be nice to have a process where we could be partners.
Hi, Senator Grant. Thank you for being here. Karen Bessalal from Channel 12. I'm trying to understand, based on your conversation with Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump, are we closer to a deal with Iran, or are we closer?
I think they're.
What will be negotiated tomorrow?
I think.
Trump keeps saying it's nuclear program.
Well, Israel's worried about the ballistic missile program, support for regional terrorism, and the nuclear program. I'm worried about all three. And the track record of Iran is abysmal when it comes to keeping their word. You got to understand who you're dealing with. The Ayatollah wants to do three things. He wants to purify Islam, which means Saudi Arabia has to bend to his will as a Shiite. He wants to destroy the state of Israel because he thinks y'all are evil, that the Jews should not have a state, that God commands him to kill all the Jews. He wants to come after the United States, my country, because we're infidels. Well, I believe he believes all three. I believe if he had a nuclear weapon, he would use it to advance his religious cause. Israel can't afford to be wrong about this. So when I look at the Ayatollah, I take the man at his word. He's a religious Nazi. And the answer to controlling religion? No. The answer to insisting that the United States bend our will to that of the Ayatollah? No.
Senator Graham, questions, please. You mentioned you're going to Saudi Arabia. Are you concerned with what some Israeli officials and some U.S. Jewish organizations have raised as anti-Semitic stance that Saudi Arabia has been?
I'm concerned about some of the rhetoric being directed toward the United Arab Emirates. The one takeaway from my visit to Israel is how the Israeli leadership and the military and the civilian side have such high opinions of MBZ as a leader and UAE as a country. It's just everybody wanted me to know that these people, and the United Arab Emirates and MBZ have been a trusted and great ally. I've got to know MBS pretty well. I think his vision for the region of integration and economic growth and AI dominance can only happen with a region not on perpetual fire. As long as the Ayatollah's around, he's up to no good. if the regime does collapse because of the demand of the Iranian people, then I think this region will explode in a good way. If the Ayatollah is still standing, it will explode in a bad way. But if we do answer the call of the Iranian people to help them in their time of great stress, and the regime falls, I think we have tremendous opportunity nobody could even dreamed of a couple of years ago.
And another question, President Trump recently called Israeli President Herzog disgraceful.
What?
For not yet pardoning Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Well, I'll leave that up to the President Herzog. I hope they can resolve that issue. But one thing that President Trump said Saturday, do you want regime change in Iran? He said, well, it seems like that would be the best thing that could happen. For 47 years, they've been talking and talking and talking. And in the meantime, we've lost a lot of lives. So let's see what happens. I think that's a great description of where we stand with Iran.
Do you think the Prime Minister should be granted a pardon?
Huh?
Do you think the Prime Minister
I'll leave that up to people here. Seems to me that all the attention, I don't know what your legal system's like, but for a defendant to have to go and talk for 2 years about a case is a bit odd.
Lahat Markov, Jewish Insider. Do you actually think that diplomacy with Iran could lead to the fall of the regime?
I think I support the idea of getting the route outcome and the diplomacy lines in the water. I think it will bear fruit. Well, based on the behavior of the regime in the past, no, but maybe this is a new time. We won't know till we try.
If diplomacy does not succeed, how do you bring about regime change? Is it taking out the Ayatollah?
Well, I think the regime will collapse with sustained pressure. It's so weak. You know, they fly F-14s. A lot's happened since Top Gun 1. So the Air Forces. That was a great movie, but it's made in the 80s. So I don't like their chances in the sky. They have a lot of ballistic missiles. They could hurt us. They could do damage to Israel. But every day that goes by in the war, they get less capable. We get more because we have such a dominant advantage. There is risk associated with taking the regime down militarily. But the risk compared to the risk of doing nothing is small.
When you were in Munich, you were alongside Reza Pahlavi, the Crown Prince of Iran. Do you think that he would be the right person to come in if there is
I think he'll be one of the right people, but the right person or the right groups will be chosen by the Iranian people. You know, everybody asks me, what happens next? Well, I don't think the Iranians are in the street to say we'd like to be oppressed more. It seems to me they want less Ayatollah, not more Ayatollah. Doesn't seem to me that they are out in the streets to build a nuclear weapon to blow everybody up. Seems to me they're out in the streets to demand a better life, better food, better housing, better living conditions. Not live in a country so wicked and sick, really. Nothing describes the darkness better than the Iranian regime under the Ayatollah. Nothing explains the light better than the protesters in Iran and the IDF and associated groups who've taken the fight to radical Islam after October the 7th. They represent, I think, the best in humanity. Okay? One last question.
Military option alone can honestly overthrow this regime? Do you honestly believe that the military option by itself can overthrow this regime?
I think what will happen to the regime is it will lose its power to maintain its hold over the people. Now, how do you do that? You kill the people who do the killing. See if the next guy wants to volunteer knowing what happened to the one before. You decapitate the regime. You go after the infrastructure that allows them to torment the people. And you stay committed and you stay determined. And the people are out in the streets. They're in the homes. I think we have a wonderful opportunity, a magical opportunity to end the terrorism caused by the Ayatollah's regime. Again, two things. The response of Israel after October the 7th has gotten us to this point because they've been pounding the hell out of Iran. And the people now are in the streets demanding a better life. Those two things together, I think, are the best explanation as to why regime change is likely.
Wouldn't it entail American troops on the ground
No,
in Iran?
we don't need American troops on the ground in Iran. But we need America understanding the threats over here can come home. 19 hijackers in Saudi Arabia killed 3,000 Americans. The only reason they didn't kill more is they couldn't find a way to kill more of us. So you got to have some of us over here, but we don't need boots on the ground in Iran. We need to partner with Israel if we do a military operation to make sure we get the highest and best benefit of our capabilities. To those who believe you should confront evil, you're right. To those who believe it doesn't exist, you're wrong. To those who want to appease, it never works. We've got a chance here to stop this regime. History would judge us poorly if we let the Ayatollah off the hook. How many times could we have stopped Hitler? A bunch. Somebody probably asked in 1935, what would Germany look like if you killed Hitler? I wish somebody had tried successfully.
So you're speaking about killing the Ayatollah?
The Ayatollah represents evil incarnate to me.
What do you think about reports that President Trump has given Prime Minister Netanyahu a green light to strike Iran's ballistic missile program if the Pope
I think it's not lost upon anybody. We're sending military capability into the region, the United States, to supplement what our friends in Israel have if we have to use a military option. To anybody who believes that the Ayatollah can withstand all of this and stay in power and not affect the United States, you're wrong. If this man, the Ayatollah, and his regime survive all this bluster, then not only does Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis not go away, they come back stronger. The likelihood of normalization under those conditions is zero. The Arabs will go back in their corner. Trying to get a better deal with Putin in Ukraine goes to zero. You'll see how we said one thing and did another in the Mideast. It will affect us in Russia, Ukraine. We'll make it more likely China will take Taiwan. The opposite is true, too. If we follow through, if we have to, and we deliver a decisive blow working with the Iranian people to end this nightmare in Iran, then a new dawn breaks. Something that nobody even envisioned 2 years ago becomes more likely than not. Thank you.
Thank you.
We did it.
Thanks, Mr. Graham. You didn't answer my question, though, about the annexation. You kind of
I said before, I don't think the annexation, I think there will be a mighty blow to Israel and the United States. They try to annex Israel even more.
Have you come on to NPR?
Did you talk about it with the Prime Minister? But not so, today. Okay, thanks. שהוא לא בעד, לא דיבר על זה.
I managed